Welcome to the podcast, Let the Prophet Speak. We continue our study of the book of Joshua, the Sefer Yehoshua. We are now up to chapter 12. In the last chapter, we read 11. We read mostly of the wars, wars of conquest that Joshua led the people of Israel over many of the kings. And areas and cities and towns and so on in the land of Israel. Unfortunately, I have to be upfront and say that the large parts of the remainder of this book of Joshua, and we have about 12, 13 chapters left, a lot of it is not too exciting. A lot of it is lists of names and places, and I am not going to go into the depth of the geography and the identification of each of those locations. Those that are familiar with the geography of the land of Israel might recognize some of these names, but here and there, scattered throughout these chapters, there are some verses of interest that I will point out, but I apologize that it may not be super exciting, but it is important for historic reasons, and therefore let's go ahead and do it. So ve'ele malchei haaretz, these are the kings of the land asher hiku b'nei Yisrael, that the people of Israel had struck down by Yershuas Artzam, and they took over their land. Be'ever hayardein mizruch hashemesh. First, those that were struck down, that were conquered on the other side of the Jordan, on the east side of the Jordan. Minachal Arnon ad Har Hermon v'chol ha'arava mizracha, from all the way from Nachal Arnon, Wadi Arnon, to the Mount Hermon mountain in the eastern half of the Arava. So this was done by Moshe, by Moses, prior to the crossing of the Jordan to the west side. And these were the names: Sichon Melech Amori, Sichon the king of the Amorites, Hayoshev b'Cheshbon, who his seat of government was in the city of Cheshbon. Moshel, he ruled Me Aroer, Asher al Svas Nachal Arnon, from the town of Aroer, which is on the edge of the Wadi Arnon, V'toch HaNachal, and from the from the middle of the Wadi, V'chatzi HaGilad, and half of the area of Gilad, V'ad Yabok HaNachal, until the Wadi Yabok, Gvul B'nei Ammon, that was the border of the Ammonites on that side of the Jordan. V'ha'arava ad Yam Kinneret Mizracha, Yam Kinrot Mizracha, and from the Araba to the Sea of Kinneret on the east side, V'ad Yam Arava Yam Melech Mizracha, all the way until down to the Dead Sea on the east side. Derech Beit HaYishimot Mitemon Tachat Ashtot HaPisga. These are the various boundaries, and I'm not going to translate all of them. All the boundaries of the land of Sichon. Ugavul Og Melech HaBashan, and then we familiar with King Og, who is the king of the Bashan, who was also conquered by Moshe. Mieser Harfarm, he was leftovers of the Rephaim people. The legendary Rephaim. Og was a remnant of them. The Hayoshev Ashtaros of Edrei. He lived in the place called Ashtarot and in Edrei. Umoshel Bahar Hermon, he ruled over Mount Hermon. V'salcho v'chol Bashan ad Gvul HaGeshuri v'Machasti, until that boundary. V'chatzi HaGilad Gvul Sichon Melech Heshbon. All of this just laid out the boundaries of Og Melech HaBashan, Og the king of Bashan's kingdom. Moshe Eved Adonai, Moses the servant of God, Uvnei Yisrael, and the people of Israel, Hikum, had struck down those two kings. Vayitna Moshe Eved Adonai Yerusha, and Moshe the servant of God gave them as an inheritance, Lo Reuveni, to the tribe of Reuben, Ulagadi, and the tribe of Gad, L'chatzin Shevet HaManashe, and half or a portion of the tribe of Menashe. That's what Moshe conquered. Ve'ela, and these, this is verse 7, Malchei Haaretz, are the kings of the land, Asher Hika Yehoshua, that Joshua, Bnei Yisrael, and the people of Israel, Be'eve Yarden Yama, on the west side of the Jordan, conquered. Mi Baal Gad, from the place called Baal Gad, Bevikat Halvanon, Viad Hahara Chalak Ha'olam, to the steep, smooth mountain which goes up Seira towards Seir. Vayitna Yoshua l'shivtei Yisrael Yerusha k'machlek osam. And Joshua gave that land to the tribes of Israel as an inheritance according to the way they broke down by their tribes. Bahar uvashfela, and the mountains and the low places of Arava, and the Arava of Ashedot, and the Ashedot, and the slopes, Uva Midbar, and in the wilderness, Uva Negev, and in the south, which was the land of Hachiti, the Hittites, the Amori, the Amorites, Haknani, the Canaanites, Haprizi, the Perizzites, Hachivi, the Hivites, the Hayavusi, and the Jebusites. Now we're going to list all of these kings, and I'm not going to translate them all. Melech Yericho Echad, the king of Yericho. Melech Ha'ai, the king of Ai, Asher Mitzad Beis El Echad. Melech Yerushalayim, the king of Jerusalem. Echad, one king. Melech Hebron, one king of Hebron. Melech Yarmut Echad. Melech Lachish Echad, the king of Lachish. Melech Eglon Echad. Melech Gezer Echad. Melech Devir Echad. Melech Geder Echad. Melech Chorma Echad. I'm emphasizing the names of the towns. The word before Melech means the king of that town. Echad, meaning that they had one king. Melech Arod Echad. Melech Livna Echad. Melech Adulam Echad. Melech Makeda Echad. If you remember, we read the stories of some of these kings. Melech Beit El Echad. Melech Tapuach Echad. Melech Chefer Echad. Melech Afek Echad. Melech Lasharon Echad. Melech Modon Echad. Melech Chotzor Echad. Melech Shimron Miron Echad, Melech Achshaf Echad, Melech Tanach Echad, Melech Megiddo Echad. Some of these cities are a little more famous than others, like the famous city of Megiddo. Melech Kedesh Echad, Melech Yokneam LeCarmel Echad, Yokneam, which is a town in the Carmel region. Melech Dor Linafat Dor, that we mentioned that was on the coast. Melech Goyim LeGilgol Echad, Melech Tirza Echad, Kol Melachim, all of the kings that were conquered by Joshua, Shloshim Echad, were 31 kings. So we just listed those kings that were conquered by Moshe and the kings that were conquered by Yehoshua and their territory. Thank you for studying chapter 12. Looking forward to studying chapter 13 together as well.